Welcome to the exciting world of rallying. Now in this DVD we'll show you how to enjoy this marvellous sport in safety. We'll help you to minimise the risks. In it we will ease you through the administration process, also the details of the personal safety equipment that you will require, and on top of all of that, the safety precautions that you must take when you're preparing your car. We will also outline the course that you must complete at a rally school in order for you to obtain your Motorsport Ireland competition licence. Okay, so you have taken the first step by contacting Motorsport Ireland. Now we're going to take you through the next few steps in order for you to become a rally competitor. At the rally school, your coaches will outline the driving techniques, safety instruction and the rules that you will have to learn in order to pass the Motorsport Ireland Introduction to Motorsport course. You will be supplied with a helmet and overalls before you take to the track, where your driving will be assessed with an emphasis on correct technique and application of the classroom teaching and not speed. Now, after your track time, you will then complete a general rally test, and it's the result of that test plus an assessment of your driving that will determine whether or not you qualify for a competition licence. Now, don't be put off by all of this information, because we will be explaining as we go along, and it's also all available in the Motorsport Yearbook.
The Motorsport Ireland Yearbook, or DVD, which is enclosed in your pack, gives you all the details you require. It is vital that you have a good knowledge of the yearbook, as it outlines all the safety requirements, the regulations for the classes, details of the championships, and it will be used as a reference in the case of a dispute. It is your responsibility to make sure that you have the correct competition licence for the event and the car that you're driving. As a newcomer to rally driving, you may apply for a Stage Rally National B licence, which will allow you to drive cars up to 1650cc. Drivers also need to join our Irish Rally Drivers Insurance Scheme, IRDS. This provides third-party insurance cover while you're driving between special stages. This insurance is compulsory, so you must remember to complete the application form and send it in with your licence application. It helps to know how motorsport is run. The worldwide administration is carried out by the FIA, which in turn gives authority to Motorsport Ireland, who are responsible for all aspects of four-wheel drive motorsport in the Republic of Ireland. Motorsport Ireland's Rallies Committee are responsible for overseeing all aspects of stage rallying, forest rallying and historic rallying in this country.
Stage rallies are run by volunteer organising clubs. The clerk of the course is the main person in charge, but you will deal mostly with the event secretary and that team, also with the scrutineers who will examine your rally car, and with the competition liaison officer if you have any queries. Now, it has to be said that motorsport is potentially a hazardous affair, so it's absolutely vital that you have the correct protective clothing when you go rallying. And when you make your purchase, make sure that it complies with the appropriate national and FIA standards. If you have any queries, check the yearbook or just ask a scrutineer. They'll be more than happy to help. Get the best protective clothing that you can possibly afford, because remember, it is your life that this equipment is protecting.
Fire-resistant underwear, vest and long johns are mandatory.
You should also buy the approved fire-resistant gloves, and these must be worn by the drivers at all times on special stages. Also make sure to purchase fire-resistant footwear. Make sure that the laces are done up properly so that they don't get entangled in the pedals, and also you should wear fire-resistant socks with those as well. Now, your suit should comply with the appropriate standards. Don't wear it too tight. In actual fact, the looser it is, the better for fire resistancy, and also in actual fact for comfort, of course. And don't use anybody else's race suit. Make sure you always wear your own. And when you're washing it, make sure not to damage the protective materials that are in this suit.
A 2-layer suit and fire-resistant underwear are required. A 3-layer suit is required for international rallies.
Now, once again, choose the best helmet that you can possibly afford. This is the single most important piece of equipment you're going to buy, because this could save your life. Never use a helmet that doesn't fit you, and don't use somebody else's helmet, and always make sure that you tie up the straps properly. Now, a little tip here is to wear the smallest helmet that you can bear for comfort wise, and when you're trying it out for size, make sure that you do so with an approved balaclava. Make sure, of course, that the helmet itself has the right regulation standards, and also you can check all of those details in the Motorsport yearbook.
Your helmet must have the correct safety standards certificate. Check the Motorsport Ireland yearbook for the latest update. Do not drop or knock your helmet, and if it has received some damage, you should consider replacing it. Never modify or drill your helmet. If you're decorating it, remember only certain paints and adhesives are compatible with the surface, so you should check with the manufacturer. You should practice putting your helmet on and fastening it. Fastening can sometimes be difficult to manage, especially if nerves kick in at the start of his first stage. Also, when purchasing your helmet, make sure that it has been fitted with the FIA-approved HANDS device and anchorages.
The HANDS device, that is head and neck support, is now compulsory for all Motorsport Ireland stage rallies. This significant development in crew safety prevents the neck from being twisted and stretched in an excessive impact, and that dramatically reduces the possibility of spinal injuries.
The HANDS device is worn on the shoulders over the overalls and tethered to the helmet. It is held in place under the shoulder straps. Your HANDS device must be FIA approved. Refer to the FIA website. Before you compete in an event, give some thought to your general fitness. You will need to have a medical examination when applying for your competition license. And if you're past fit but become ill later, you must declare this. In a sport where quick reactions are vital, the medical will also include eye and colour blindness tests. And if you are involved in an accident that results in you being injured, it will be necessary to retake your medical examination before returning to competition. Disability may not be a bar to competition either. Motorsport Ireland will be able to advise you on this. Testing is carried out for prohibited substances and alcohol at Irish motorsport events. Prohibited substances can include some prescription and over-the-counter medications, as well as recreational drugs. A list of these can be obtained from the Irish Sports Council.
If you're in any doubt, ask your doctor or a pharmacist. Drugs or alcohol will not enhance your performance, and motorsport does not need the kind of drug scandals that have affected other sports.
If you have to take medication that is on the prohibited list, you can apply for a therapeutic use exemption. This must be obtained from the Irish Sports Council before competing. Contact Motorsport Ireland for information on this. The presence of jewellery, including body piercing, may hinder you if you're injured. Studs in the lips and tongues can interfere with medical procedures, while studs in the eyebrows can snag helmets. Remove them before events.
Under no circumstances chew gum while competing. It could get lodged in your windpipe in an accident and be a potential killer.
If for any reason you're feeling seriously below par, you should reconsider whether to compete. You could be a danger to yourself and other people. Wearing glasses, ideally with plastic lenses or contact lenses, preferably with soft ones, is not a bar to competing. Use a windscreen sun strip rather than sunglasses to eliminate glare, but make sure it complies with the requirements of sun strips listed in Appendix 2 of the yearbook. Also think about your diet and particularly your fluid intake. On long hot events, you will need to guard against dehydration.
In any sport, there is the excitement of the build-up, and rallying, of course, is no exception. But it does pay to be businesslike in your approach. You'll get more satisfaction from your rallying if you give yourself the best possible chance of success. The inside of your car is your office, so make sure that everything is in order for yourself and your co-driver. We'd also recommend to you that you use an experienced co-driver for your first few events. It will also help if you can persuade a recognised scrutineer to have a look at your car and clothing before your first event, and get an experienced driver to give your car a once-over to see if it's properly set up.
Your car should be equipped with 2 handheld and 1 plumbed-in fire extinguisher. Are they up to date, and do you and your co-driver know how to work them? Remember, you must remove the pin from the plumbed-in extinguisher before the start of the first stage. Are you clear about the location and operation of the emergency cut-off switches? And your car should be user-friendly. You want to be working in harmony with it rather than fighting it over the special stages. That all sounds like a lot of work, but it's not really if you want to do well and enjoy your sport.
Get the best possible seat that you can and make sure that it's securely mounted in the car. A wraparound seat is highly recommended. After that, never incline the seat more than 30 degrees from the vertical. Make sure you're in a nice driving position that you can reach the pedals, also the gear shift and the controls in comfort. Make sure that your safety harness is comfortable, and always make sure that you use an FIA homologated harness and never buy it second hand. They can stretch in an accident, and this may not be obvious to you.
The lap belt should cross the pelvis, not the abdomen. When the shoulder belts are tightened, they should not pull the lap belt off the pelvis. This can usually be avoided by tightening the lap belt first and by making sure that the crutch straps are the proper length. Know how to release your harness. Remember, you could be upside down, in which case make sure you brace yourself with your feet against the dashboard before releasing. Pad any corners and edges where your head, hands or legs might make contact with approved energy-absorbing materials. And have you got proper storage for your helmets so that they don't fly about in the car when you're driving between stages? And have you practiced wheel changing so that you and your co-driver know who does what when you have a puncture? Do you know where all the equipment, which should include a first aid kit and tyre gauge, is stored? All small points, but attention to detail can make the difference between success and failure. Everything installed in your car should be securely fixed down, whether drinking bottles, radio equipment, mobile phones, tools, etc. Bear in mind that they can become lethal if they come loose and lodge under a brake pedal, for example, or strike you particularly hard in an accident. If you're not sure about tyre pressures or even the type of tyre to use, then talk to the manufacturer's competition specialists or to more experienced people with similar cars. It is mandatory to present a logbook that outlines the history of your competition car at each rally. Details of how to obtain a logbook are listed in the Motorsport yearbook. It is advisable to carry a rally jacket and hat to prevent hypothermia should you be stranded for long periods in inclement weather. Overshoes will protect your fire-resistant boots, and make sure to wipe the soles of your shoes with a dry cloth, otherwise your feet may slip off the pedal at just the wrong moment. Know your limits and work in harmony with your car on the stage, almost as a partnership. For instance, braking should be smooth and progressive. Incidentally, at this stage in your career, ignore all talk about the benefits of left-foot braking. You have enough to be thinking about. Cornering too should be smooth. The best method is slow in, fast out. If you take the opposite approach and go in too fast, you may not come out at all. Two of the most common driving errors are oversteer and understeer. Oversteer is when the rear of the car slides out in a turn. In a rear-wheel drive car, control it with the throttle. But in a front-wheel drive cars, this can be caused by turning in too fast and then lifting off the power. Lift off the power before turning in, and then come on the power again to exit the turn. Slow in, fast out. Here is a classic example of understeer in rallycross. It happens when the front of the car doesn't turn in but continues on straight. This can be caused by too fast an entry speed, braking while turning, at sudden change of surface or even the wrong tyres. Try to keep the car smooth and balanced. The car that is all over the place may be entertaining to spectators, but the smoother approach will be faster.
100.
Anyone should be able to drive fast on a straight section, but be very wary of jumps, or yumps as they tend to be called in rallying. The most dangerous time for a rally driver may be when the car is bouncing about and out of line after flying over a yump.
Here, big press, dip. Watch yourself on this. Double caution, brake, half left, very big jump. Don't damage the car, keep half right. Up a big jump, sudden 5 left, steep downhill, that's dead on.
Bad jumps will probably have hazard warning signs. Watch out for these and for any other signs such as arrows along the stage.
Half right, or big jump, and drop. Front right.
If you see a crowd of spectators, don't assume that they are there to applaud your skill. They're probably there because it is a difficult section and they're hoping to see some action, so try to disappoint them. Take care too if you see marshals frantically waving you to slow down.
60, fast, medium, right, past the wall, stop it, slow down, big time, big time, big time, big time.
If you don't ease off, you may add to the problems of a previous accident.
Blocked. Done again. Nip slipping, and the right 4 nip, and left 4 slipping. Punch it.
The co-driver should be aware of how far through a stage you are. This is important if you have a puncture, so that you can decide whether to stop and change a wheel or limp on.
3Ks now.
Be aware that there is likely to be another car less than 30 seconds behind you.
Right 3 fast. Keep an eye on the mirror. Right 3 fast. Then left 5.
Pace notes are a shorthand guide to what corners are coming up. There are 2 main types. Descriptive, whereas the title suggests the corners are described.
Caution, keep right for slot line, fast left plus in early over 10 onto wide. Into short absolute left.
Or numerical, where the corners are given a number to indicate their severity.
Left 2 and left 2 again, 40. We're slowing, right 2, 40, right entry chicane.
Choose whichever you're happy with and be sure that there can be no misunderstanding, because confusion as to how sharp a corner is could put you off the road. Make your own notes or purchase notes from a specialist supplier and then modify them to suit your pace.
This is now the last day of the recce, and we've done every stage on Sunday only 3 times. And it's not because we know it so well, it's because I wanted to listen to what Paul's saying.
This corner here will come in this direction here. 40 is approximately 40 yards from there to here where the corner starts going in this way. We're calling that a flat 3 left cut, meaning that if you look at this car coming here, it's going to stay on the road, whereas our cut means we're going to go in on the gravel to make it less of a corner.
And this is what it looks like at rally speed. And this is how Paul calls it from inside the car.
Tight 6 right. Tight 6 right. 60. Black crest. 5 right cuts.
Safety notes may be issued for forestry or single stage rallies, and only very slight modifications are allowed in these. Always check what you can do beforehand, or you could be penalised. In early rallies you may be caught by other cars. This is called balking, and it means just one thing: they are faster than you, so let them through. Pause before following somebody who's just overtaken you, otherwise on a rough stage you might get your lights broken by flying stones. And when following another car, watch the road, not the car. Otherwise, if the driver ahead makes a mistake, you may find yourself doing exactly the same thing in sympathy. Concentrate on your own effort. Don't worry about your rivals and tailor your approach to the conditions. For instance, a loose, rough stage may present more challenges than a tarmac one. And with smooth, wet tarmac, aquaplaning can be a hazard. During winter months, look out for black ice. You can't see it, so take care if temperatures drop suddenly. Have a checklist to make sure that you bring everything with you. Competition license, IRDS insurance letter, logbook, homologation papers, it's quite a list. Then when you get to the documentation for the event, go through it with your co-driver. Make sure you both understand it and sort out the service arrangements with your backup crew. If you have any queries, talk to the competitor liaison officer or ask at sign-on. You will have to undertake both paperwork and mechanical scrutiny prior to the event. At the paperwork check, your competition license and IRDS insurance letter will be examined. At the mechanical scrutiny, the safety and eligibility of your car, its logbook and your protective clothing will be inspected. You will have to present FIA homologation papers if you drive a Group A or a Group N car. These give the scrutineers detailed information about the eligibility of your car and its particular class. Pace notes are permitted on all special stage events except forestry and single stage rallies. On one-day events, the notes must be made the previous day, and you have 2 days allocated on longer events. Competitors must sign on for these recce periods and carry identification on the recce cars. A maximum of 3 passes over the stage will be allowed, and competitors must strictly adhere to all speed limits and show due consideration to other road users and local residents. People should remember that not everybody loves the sport, so when driving on public roads in either a rally car or service vehicles, common sense should prevail. Organisers schedule events so that you don't have to speed on public roads. If you do drive badly on the road section between stages with numbers in the car, you may attract the attention of the Garda.
When you get to the start, check for any late changes. And if you're having a problem, or perhaps you're just simply uptight because of nerves, don't take it out on the officials. Remember, they are volunteers, and the sport simply couldn't exist without them.
You may be kept waiting for several minutes before the start. This is the time when the co-driver checks the clocks, the driver focuses on what's ahead, they tighten the seat belts, make sure your extinguisher pin is out, fasten and tighten your helmet, check the intercom, and compose yourself.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Right over pressing the 2 left.
Then you're off. It's a new environment with possible unexpected road conditions and all at high speed with no oncoming traffic. Perhaps time to remember again the dangers of going too fast, too soon.
And so for your first special stage. Now, a special stage or special section is a time section of road closed to oncoming traffic. You drive as fast as you possibly can, because this is where the rally is decided.
There will be an arrival control from which cars will be called up to the start of the stage. You should be absolutely clear of the starting procedure, which will usually involve cars leaving at half-minute intervals to avoid the risk of balking and problems with dust. But a word of caution, forestry rallies start at 1-minute intervals, and some events and events outside the Republic of Ireland may be started at greater intervals. Get to know the different coloured boards on the stage arrowing system. Before the start of the stage, there is the advanced arrival control. The arrival control. The advanced stage start. Stage start. And finally the end control zone. During the stage you may come across advanced radio points and radio points, advanced services and services, and most importantly advanced caution and caution boards. There are also countdown boards to chicanes. 3, 2, 1.
In, right entry, 50, right 1, and
At the end of the stage, look out for advanced flying finish, 3, 2, 1, stage finish control, and stop, and end of control zone. On the road sections you will encounter advanced passage control, and end of control zone. And when you reach service, there will be an advanced service in control, advanced service start, and service start. There will be a regrouping areas where you will see advanced regroup control, end of control zone. And then when leaving service, you will get the advanced service end, advanced service out control, service out, and end of control zone.
Now, okay, this is assuming so far that everything has gone smoothly and safely, as I'm sure it will have done. But just what if you do have an accident?
If you're both unhurt but have the OK sign that you're required to carry, this will alert the following competitors and let them inform the organisers that you're OK. Putting out a warning triangle will also help. At least one crew member must remain with the car for the remainder of the stage to ensure that the OK sign continues to be displayed. If unhappily one of you is not OK, then the other should put out the SOS sign, which you are also required to carry. This indicates to the next car that it must stop and help, which it must also do if no sign is showing. Remember that every rally issues an emergency number, which is published in the roadbook. Phone this number immediately if you need help. It may be possible for the co-driver in the next car to help, while the driver goes on to alert the organisers that more assistance is needed, perhaps via one of the radio cars, which will be at places shown on the roadbook. If you come across an accident, then follow the same procedures and do all you can to help. At such times, a basic knowledge of first aid is important, and you should consider attending a first aid course. In the unlucky event of you having a fire on board, every Motorsport Island event has 2 additional large fire extinguishers at every numbered stage location. The maximum distance between sets of these extinguishers will be approximately 2 kilometers. If you suspect your car is on fire, try to get to the next fire point. First, deploy your own plumbed-in extinguisher. Do not open the bonnet or boot until you have the additional large dry powder extinguisher labelled number 1 ready to be deployed. Then only open wide enough to allow the extinguisher nozzle access to the fire area. The dry powder will knock back the fire. The second large extinguisher, labelled number 2, contains AFFF and should then be used immediately to cool the area to prevent reignition. These extinguishers are effective if used swiftly. When you come to the finish of a stage, it will be a flying finish, with a stop control a bit further on. Once past the flying finish, you must brake as you're approaching the stop board. Sometimes there can be a short distance between the flying finish and the stop control. Caution is required, especially if there are spectators around.
Now, you may be high on adrenaline at the end of the stage, but don't let that make you careless when you go onto the road section. Also, if you're rallying in a foreign country, remember which side of the road you're supposed to be driving on and know the rules of the road in that country as well.
Between stages, think of how you drove the last one and get your co-driver to jot down notes. Bad jumps, difficult corners, mistakes you made, and so on, so that you will be forewarned the next time through. And so to the finish. When you get there, check your times and provisional results. If you have any queries, talk to the competitor liaison officer. After the event, make more detailed notes and draw up a job sheet for the car. Is there anything that you need to ask one of the experts, for instance, to cure one of the problems that you've come across? And last but not least, don't go too fast too soon. You can't win a rally on the first stage, but you can certainly lose it.